The Full Spectrum Podcast, presented by Champions and Legends. Champions and Legends produces hemp-derived CBD sports supplements for athletic preparation, performance, and recovery. Discover Champions and Legends on the World Wide Web at championsandlegends.com. This is the Full Spectrum Podcast with Big Data and Maverick, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Big Data. We're back, baby. We're back on the airwaves. I love it. Listen, quick question. Are you watching on Netflix Snabacash? Snabacash.
Who isn't?
Yeah. Hottest new show on Netflix. You know us. We're all about the drama. We're all about the data. Here's a little drama. Watch it. It's great. And the song on it, let's call it the interlude, great. Ricazo. I like it.
Can't stop listening to it.
I thought I heard you humming it earlier today when I called you. You're just dropping it, and for some reason you were wearing a wool mask, which I found really weird because we were zooming, but I knew it was you the whole time, so it's kind of weird.
It's really tough to lip sync in Swedish.
Yeah, it's not. You're not very good at it. I'll be honest with you. You were off a little bit. You were off. Speaking of some crazy marketing, some crazy things that went on the weekend, can we please, for a couple of seconds, talk about, I don't know, you want to use the word fiasco that went on Saturday night? It was fight night. It was Jake Paul taking on Ben Askren, who used to be a UFC fighter, and Jake Paul, who is a YouTube star / turned boxer, amateur boxer. I don't know. He's going around and pummeling, the likes of Nate Robinson, who, all of 5'9" Nate Robinson, he destroys him and then goes and fights Ben Askren. Now, look, Ben's got a pretty amazing resume. Here's a guy that, at the University of Missouri was an NCAA standout when it came to wrestling, multitude and of accolades at that level. Then he goes into the MMA world. He was a champion for many, many years, actually holds the record for the longest streak over at Bellator with the belt that he held there. And then he goes over to the UFC and things maybe didn't work out as great over there. So he ends up taking on Jake Paul this weekend. And on one end, I want to say it was exactly what I thought it was going to be, a spectacle. But on the other side, man, everybody and their dog and on social media is making this be like the greatest thing that's ever happened. My first question to you, Big Data, did you watch any of it? Did you buy? Were you one of the 1.65 million buys of this pay-per-view this past weekend?
So I think we established that Saturday night I was crushing Snabacash.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good point.
So honestly, I've heard some chatter about it, but I didn't see it, and I don't know what's going on. Tell me about it, Maverick.
Yeah, so Jake Paul, here he comes out, and he challenges Ben Askren. It's been going on for a few weeks. It's not like this came out of nowhere. Ben had time to set up and train a little bit harder. He showed up to the weigh-in. I would say not looking great. Jake Paul took this very serious. He looked fantastic. Ben probably said to himself, hey, you know what? I used to be in the UFC. I used to be an MMA guy. I used to be a wrestler. How hard could boxing be? Well, he found out the hard way that it can be very hard. And Jake Paul knocked him out very early into the first round. And so the first controversy started where a lot of people believe that the referee stopped it too early. For anybody that thinks that, I think you're being absolutely ridiculous. All you have to do is watch the highlight. You don't have to wait very long because Jake knocks him out pretty fast, okay? The hit that Ben took, I don't care who you are. You're gonna fall. You're gonna get up. He was woozy, and the referee said, "Nah, you know what? We're calling this a fight." So right off the bat, it was a fight, Big Data, that I said to myself, this was just not for Ben. If this was a wrestling match and he lost, then my sentiments to this would be a lot different, but it wasn't. My whole thing is it was a spectacle. Look, boxing at one time was the thing that everybody, no matter who you were, you needed to get into it and you had to watch it. You had to buy the pay-per-view. Tyson, Holyfield. I still remember watching it, even 1 and 2. It didn't matter. It was something that everybody got behind. But what's happening now is Jake Paul is a marketing marvel, man. This kid knows what he's doing. He's a YouTube sensation, but he's taking the YouTube side and he's adding in a sport that already has a bad rep. And now it's looking really cheesy. And what's happening is for all those guys that are working really hard to get into this industry, he's kind of making a mockery of it, in my opinion, by coming in, knocking out guys that really have are not boxers, and they're making it seem like it's a big deal. I don't seem to get it. You must have seen all this publicity going behind it, have you not?
So I saw a lot of Snoop and
Yeah.
Urkel hanging out.
Yes.
Heard a little Bieber going on.
Absolutely.
Uh, in the end, I mean, these can't be. This is probably his YouTube fans coming in and buying these pay-per-views. It's probably not sports fans. He probably just that's his audience, right?
I think it's a combination of both. I'll be honest. I think you're absolutely right. I think it is his fans and his brother's fans that are buying up the pay-per-views, but it's also a lot of sports people actually are getting into it. And all of a sudden, so Jake Paul knocks out Ben, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of UFC, MMA, other boxing guys are all coming out going, okay, enough is enough. You've knocked out three guys that really had no reason to be in the ring. That you are thinking you're a big tough guy because you knocked out non-boxers. It's time you take it. So my thing is this: this kid's got hands. He can throw them, but it's time you want to be at the big man. Okay, time to take somebody that can actually throw them back, not guys that didn't utilize this. Like, buddy, Nate Robinson won the slam dunk competition. What reason did he have to be in the ring to chuck him with this guy? He didn't know.
Well, I mean, he was a tough dude. He
Sure, he's
played
tough,
he
man.
played football in college,
Okay.
and he seemed like a tough guy. But you know what? This is more. I'd rather see a pay-per-view on how they marketed this thing behind the scenes and
Mm-hmm.
how it made so much money. And I don't honestly, I don't think sports fans care about this at all.
I'll tell you this. I think you're right, and I think you're wrong because you know what? In the next one, he will fight somebody with maybe a better resume, and should he win that, then you might get my attention. But as of right now, man, this is, I guess, the reason I'm a little perturbed, if you will, is I just don't like how this is looking. This looks like a full marketing gimmick. This is worse than the WWE. This is worse than the WWE. This is, might as well call Hulk Hogan to come down and wrestle him and stuff like that. I don't know. It's silly to me. I think it's because I love boxing and I love my UFC. I love my MMA. And I have to admit, this guy's kind of putting a little stink on it, and I don't like it.
I can sense. You know what? You should have a session with Doctor Maverick. He'll make you feel better.
I'll tell you what I want. I want a piece of Jake Paul. You know what? Why don't you call the Maverick up, and maybe the Maverick will come and have a little challenge since you want to throw around the fisticuffs. If he wants to find
That'd be
out.
amazing.
Now,
Let's talk to the CEO.
open
Let's make
challenge.
this happen.
Get the CEO. I'm ready. I'll start training starting tomorrow. Start doing a sit up or two. It's on. Get ready.
You know the CEO can make it happen.
Absolutely. You know what the CEO was probably a part of, and we didn't even know? Can we please go across the Atlantic over to Europe and talk a little footy? I know it's a little out of our realm, but can we please talk about the Super 12 that has it started off hot yesterday and all of a sudden it sounds like it's fizzled out. Big Data, tell everybody what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is right up our alley, I think. The Super League. So we've got 12 of the largest, most profitable, highest revenue football teams in Europe decide, hey, we're not making enough money. They've been talking about it for a while. They thought, we have our domestic league, and then we have the Champions League, the UEFA, basically two streams of revenue for them. Um, what we had here is six English teams, your big ones, Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, even Tottenham. Those were the top six.
Yeah.
You had AC and Inter Milan and Juventus in Italy. You had the big dogs, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid in Spain. So they got together and they said, you know what? We're going to have a 20-team Super League. We're the 12 founding members. We have space for 3 more founding members to make it 15. And then just to appease everybody, we'll have 5 open slots where people can come in. And what they would do is outside of the domestic season in each country, kind of in the space of the Champions League in UEFA, they would have their own Super League, and they'd have the best players, the biggest teams, and they would be able to generate serious revenues. And the key to it all was the lack of competition. So these founding members, these 15 teams they were looking for, could never get relegated, which is a big thing in the European soccer. If you can't tank in these leagues. If you do, you get demoted to the second division, and then it'd take you a while to get back up to the top. Even happened to Juventus not that long ago, actually, of all these big teams. So numbers wise, let me give you some numbers here, Maverick. This is where it gets saucy. So right now, we'll give the Premier League teams example. These top 6 teams make anywhere between 200 and 250 million a year in TV revenue. So they split the English Premier League. It's split even with all the teams. Then there's international TV money, and you get different amounts of money for winning the league or these different competitions that they have. So the winner of the Champions League, they can make up to an additional 115 million in a season. So if you're a top team, you could make, if you won your league and you won the Champions League, which doesn't happen very often, it's a big honor. You could make upwards of 365 million in a season. Huge money. Well, this Super League was going to basically, was backed by a big bank in the U.S. Each team was going to make about 485 million a year in TV revenue. So basically, you're going to be making 120 million a year more than the most dreamiest, best season that you could have uh, in your domestic league. So basically, they were trying to, close everything in around the high revenue teams, guarantee themselves income, and then, it ruined, that what they have today, where any team has a dream of winning their domestic league or winning the Champions League. They were going to quash that. They were just going to keep it to the top league, and then everything went haywire.
You know what? So let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on it with regards to your personal preference? Did you kind of want to see it a little bit, or were you kind of disgusted the minute you heard about it? Because the fans over in Europe, it seemed like right from the get go, this was not something they were down with. This was completely an owner's situation. This was something the owners wanted, not so much the fan base. Did you get that feeling as well?
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, you got to think of it as, so these English teams have owners, as do the Italian teams. But you know, certain German teams and especially the Spanish teams, they don't have a single owner.
Mm-hmm.
They have a president. So it seemed like the president of Real Madrid was one of the big backers of this. I think it's really strange. Like the American sports leagues often quote how excellent a league like the Premier League is run. Their regular season has a ton of meaning. They have these additional competitions. So there's basically 3 competitions that the fans care about each season. So even if you're not winning your domestic league, there's the domestic tournament that's going on during the season. And then, if you're not doing well in either of those, maybe from the previous season, you could have qualified for the Champions League, and then you could be cheering for that. So NBA was definitely the most envious of that setup,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to get that regular season to mean something every single game. And NHL, MLB, I think outside of the NFL, everyone's looking for that.
Yeah.
So it's really strange that a league that had everything set up so well, and as do the other European countries and their domestic leagues, why they would want to mess with that. They have such a worldwide following, such a dedicated fan base inside their country and then also worldwide. Uh, they just have a great formula, and seems like they were just getting too greedy. Everyone called them out on it, and now the British Prime Minister called them out, all the leagues called them out, all the players, former players, current players, coaches, everybody was against it,
Hmm.
except for these owners, essentially. And yeah, it blew up in their face. And the English teams today, they backed out. And then the Italian teams backed out. And then I think the Spanish teams did too.
Well, here's my analogy of what happened. This was a boys' trip. These imagine these guys were all actual individuals, and they were all texting each other, and they're like, "Okay, we're going to Vegas. We're hitting the strip clubs. We're staying in the strip club. We're not going to the hotel." And then one of the wives picking up the cell phone, going, "I'm sorry, you're doing what?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm out. I got the sniffles, or I can't make it." That's basically what's happened in less than 24 hours. But for those that didn't quite understand, here, let me give it a North American spin. So Big Data explained it very well, but let me throw a little North American spin on it. What I want you guys to think about is each of the leagues that you're into. So let's say you're into baseball. Imagine a league now of just the Yankees, the Dodgers, Brooklyn, or pardon me, Boston, the Texas Rangers and the Mets, because these are the highest generating teams, right? Like imagine just their own little league. All the best players want to be on their teams or are on these teams, and they're only playing each other. Okay, or in football, it's like Green Bay, Pittsburgh, all the Giants, Dallas, Philly, New England, all in their own little league doing their thing, right? Football is really kind of the worst example as I was going through a set of the teams that could be like a Super 12 or whatever. Basketball was actually kind of the hardest for me to put together. The Lakers, the Knicks, Brooklyn. Like I know the Knicks are not the greatest team, but we're talking about the teams with the most amount of money, right? The teams that people just love to follow and be a part of. And then I was actually thinking the best one is the NCAA. Imagine the NCAA, and they were kind of doing it almost last year with COVID because of the situation. But imagine Notre Dame, Alabama, Oregon, Florida, Clemson, Oklahoma, Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, um, Georgia, all together as one league. Who's ever going to go out and watch, I don't know, North Texas versus South Carolina. All of a sudden, when you take away these really, really fine teams that have the top recruits or have the top talents and all that, and you take them away and you make their own little league, I can completely understand where the fans over in England, or pardon me, in Europe, were absolutely furious about this, because I mean, we love our teams here, they love their teams just as much. And imagine being one of those teams that are like, we're on the cups to winning it this year, we're going to do something, we're making that move, and then all of a sudden this happens. I could totally see why they were furious. But here's the other side. Why is it that we're okay with a dream team, we're okay with teams stacking their players like the Brooklyn Nets, but these owners, they were trying to make a dream league? So I look at it from a couple of different points of view, going, you know what, we got to be careful what we wish for, because these owners, just like anyone, they're businessmen. They're looking to make money, and they say, "Hey, it seems like we're only making money when these two teams, or when our team seems to be in your stadium. So why not just make it a beautiful combination?" And don't I think we'd all be lying if we said we didn't want to watch that in a weird way.
But I think when you take away that each team, as small of a chance as it is, because
Mm-hmm.
though, like say in those European leagues, it's actually even harder to win a title. Those top few teams win almost every year. But the most exciting years seem to be when an underdog comes in and
Couldn't agree
wins.
more.
So it's it would be like having the NCAA tournament without the bottom 32 seats. Like you just had the top 32 seats. There's not as much drama. It's not as exciting. There's no Cinderella story. And as unlikely as it is in the pro game, um, there's still that chance that it could happen, and it does happen every once in a while. And in the end, it also that format keeps everyone honest.
Couldn't agree more. One word: Leicester. A couple of years ago, 5,000 to 1 odds to win it, and they did. I agree, man. I'm all about the Cinderella. And me, I'm all about the drama. I agree 100%. I get the idea, respect, but you guys got to go back to the drawing board. Nice try. Nice try. From there, let's talk about NFL. Oh, wait, you won't let me because there's nothing to really bring up except next week. We're gonna go draft heavy. It's only a few days before next week's draft, so I'm excited about that. We will talk heavy about that, and actually, I might have a little something for you in the great debate. From there, let's talk a little basketball. Big data. The NBA is coming to a close, but you want to talk about the hottest player in the league.
Yeah, NBA is season is going by. A lot of players injured, lots of turmoil in the league. COVID's taking its run through a bunch of teams. But let's talk about someone who's been in and out of the lineup this year, but is on fire. Steph Curry. His last 11 games, he's averaging 40 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists in just 35 minutes a game. He's scoring more than a point a minute. He's he's averaging, he's hitting 12 out of every 23 shots. He's hitting 7 out of 14 3-point shots per game, which is just outrageous. He has 3 games in that streak, 10 or more 3-point shots made. He's plus 76, and his effective field goal percentage, which is usually higher for big guys or sharpshooters because they leverage the 3-point shot a little bit more. But he's shooting 69% effective field goal percentage, which is just an outrageous statistic. The Warriors are not a good team, but they are 7-4 in his hot streak, and you just got to step back and just everyone knows he's on. He's trying to. He's going to take a lot of shots. Going to take a lot of threes. They're trying to stop him. They're double teaming him, and it's just not working. He is in such a zone right now. He's a flamethrower, and it's one of the greatest streaks we've ever seen individually, and it's been a joy to watch.
You know what? You said it. He's like a Picasso at a museum. You can't, maybe you don't understand it, but hey, it's beautiful. You just got to sit back and enjoy what it is. Absolutely. Steph Curry on fire. Now, let me ask you this real quick because I know you want to talk a little NCAA. When you're talking about the MVP race, I feel like it's heating up. I'm going to give you 5 names. I want you to be honest with me. If you had a vote, who would you go for? We'll put Mr. Steph Curry in there because I do think he's, even though the team probably, isn't playing up to their expectations, he's still on fire. Mr. Harden over in Brooklyn, he's been absolutely lights out. Let's talk a little bit about Joel Embiid over in Philadelphia, carrying the 76ers as he is. We got to talk about the Joker, Jokic over in Denver. And you know what? I'm going to throw in a little curveball, CP3, a little Chris Paul with those Phoenix Suns. If you had a vote, my friend, who would you vote for?
Yes, CP3 is a great call to throw in there. He's been so consistent this year. It's his 16th year in the league. Everyone said he was done when he looked like he was injured a couple years ago. The last 2 seasons, he's still been lights out. But I can't give it to the CP3. He's got a lot of help. I'm going to go with Nikola Jokic. I
Yeah.
mean, the guy is just having an incredible season. He's the greatest passing big man we've seen since Sabonis' dad,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't even at his prime when he played in the NBA. He's just crushing offensively. He's sharing the ball. He's scoring. He's just doing everything right. Uh, he's now got to pull up his team with Jamal Murray hurt. Uh, he's been he's been compared to the other candidates, he's played the most games, which is also very important. Embiid missed quite a bit. Curry's missed quite a bit. Harden's now missed quite a bit. So it's really, and obviously LeBron and Davis have missed way too much time. They're not even in the conversation this time, even though they
Mm-hmm.
might be the two of the best players in the league. But I got to give it to Jokic. He just had just a stunning season.
You know what? I 100% agree with you. I was kind of, I wanted to put Giannis's name in there, but he's just not. Only because I wanted to see the three-peat. It's really never been done before, so I wanted to see it. But hey, I couldn't agree more. It's the Joker. And you know what? Of course, you couldn't help yourself, could you? It's part of the healing process. You had to bring up Gonzaga. You had to bring up Sabol. I know what you were doing there. Okay, Big Data, go ahead and tell everybody about what happened this week.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I heard the Zags lost the national championship recently. Kind of don't remember it anymore. Zag Nation is back. The number one rated recruit in college, in high school basketball. 7 foot tall shooting guard, basically, named Chet Holmgren. He's a former teammate of the Zags, Jalen Suggs. They played together at Minnehaha in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And yeah, he chose the Zags. It was a big announcement the other day. The Zags have the number one rated guy in Holmgren. They also got the number 7 rated guard, Hunter Salas. So 2 5-star prospects. They also got another couple 4-star prospects. They've come in now with the second best recruiting class. Only Michigan, who got 3 5-stars, has a better recruiting class. If Drew Timme comes back, if Andrew Nemhard comes back, this recruiting class plus they had a decent recruiting class last year that frankly they just couldn't get on the floor because the team was so good. Jalen Suggs is obviously, he announced he's going to the NBA. Corey Kispert is a senior. He's also going to the NBA. Joel Ayayi is going to the NBA. So it's still good times in Zag Nation. Everyone's pretty happy.
You told me the guy's name, and all I've been thinking about is Gonzaga is going to rest all their hopes on a guy named Chet. That's it. That's all I
That's
got.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Big Data's not wrong.
from there, let's get down to the great debate. It's everyone's favorite. Grab yourself a drink, grab a partner, start arguing, because here's one for you. I told you Big Data didn't want me talking NFL this week because next week we're going to go NFL heavy with the draft next week. However, I said, hey, we had to talk about the guy that is a New England Patriot Wall of Famer for sure, but is he a Hall of Famer? Who am I talking about? It's Julian Edelman. He's announced his retirement last week. 6,800 yards receiving, 3-time Super Bowl champ, 1-time Super Bowl MVP. The talk around the horn is, should Julian be a Hall of Famer in the NFL Hall of Fame? Big Data. Go ahead.
Nice work on the numbers there, Maverick.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you some Edelman playoff numbers. We've got 19 career playoff games, 15 as a starter, 1,442 yards receiving, 118 catches, 65% catch rate, but yet only 6 touchdowns in 19 games. Great performer in the playoffs, in the fact that he made what we'd call lots of clutch catches. Also had a clutch drop in the undefeated season against the Giants that I remember very well. I would say overall, I believe we think of him as a great player just because he was in so many playoff games. By that rationale, we'd have to put the entire Patriots group into the Hall of Fame, which
I like that idea.
They might do. They might do. I'm going to say he was an excellent player. He was durable. He was very, very good. I'm going to say not a Hall of Famer.
Ooh. You know what? You tugged me along. I thought for a second there you were going to say for sure. And I thought we were going to have another week where we agreed. I'm happy you went the other way. I 100% believe he should be in the Hall of Fame. And here's a simple reason why. The guy is, yes, he made that, he didn't make that catch. And I know exactly what you're talking about against the Giants, but he did make all the other catches when it mattered. He was the insurance. Everybody knew if it wasn't Gronk, it was going to be Edelman. It was basically 3 guys on 11 when you really think about it, and they were still able to do what they did. Julian Edelman, I think if he played anywhere else, I truly do believe he wouldn't really be a name that we know. I do believe that Tom made him amazing, but I also think that guy's got the grit and the determination, and he was just a great fit on a great team for many years. My vote is Mr. Edelman to the Hall of Fame. Get that jacket, my friend. Grow that beard nice and thin and thick and all that stuff, or whatever you want to do with that beard. Maybe shave it all off. I don't care. Julian Edelman to the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. There it is, everybody. Great debate right at you. Big Data. This one was a little controversial. Me and you had a lot to talk about. For soccer, footy, if you will. A little Jake Paul, Edelman to the Hall of Fame. Who are we? What are we here?
You know, we take care of it all. We take care of the worldwide sports.
There it is. Have a great week, everyone. Get ready. Next week, it's going to be Mavericks mock draft / the real draft, because it's the only draft. I was going to start rapping like our good friend, the Grecazo, but I said, hey, you know what? Maybe for another time. Maybe you guys will need to pay to hear that. You know what I mean?
And hey, what do you?
Jake, yeah, go ahead.
You want to do like 7 rounds mock draft, 6 rounds? What do you think we can get in an hour?
You know what? I think yeah, exactly. All I know is this: you're gonna get the draft next week, and you're gonna get called out again, Jake Paul. And just a little FYI, Grecazo's gonna walk me to the ring. That's it. My call out is CEO, set it up, please. I want a piece of this guy. I want a piece of this action.
Maybe we'll get James Harrison in your corner.
Ooh, buddy, could we please? That'd be amazing. Can you imagine the cast around us? We got Paul Vellner, we got the cross, we got Sarah Sigmund's daughter, we got James Harrison. Oh, buddy, no one's gonna mess with
Jay Glazer. We'll get Jay Glazer in your corner.
Jay Glazer for sure has got to train me. I mean, who do you think is gonna train me for this thing? I can't not have Jay there, dude. I like what I came up with it on a whim, but now I'm starting to believe in myself. I want a piece of that action.
We're gonna have YouTube videos of you training at Unbreakable.
Yeah, let's do this. Oh my goodness, this is the
make it happen, CEO. Make it happen.
I'm gonna quit my job tomorrow. Done. It's on. Let's do this. All right, everyone. Have a great week.
Take care, everybody. The Full Spectrum Podcast, presented by Champions and Legends. Champions and Legends produces hemp-derived CBD sports supplements for athletic preparation, performance, and recovery. Discover Champions and Legends on the World Wide Web at championsandlegends.com.
Take that for data.